If you're into Game Boy, there's a good chance you'll like my new Neo Geo Pocket Color series too. Every Thursday, I'm reviewing a new Neo Geo game. Just join the PO3 Patreon or become a channel member here on YouTube. Long ago, a boy named Kintarou lived in the mountains with his mother. One day he asked his mom about his dad. She sighed and shook her head, but Kintarou persisted. Mom looked away. "I'm sure he's watching over us from somewhere." Aw. Kintarou wasn't satisfied though. He wanted to go on a journey to find his dad. Not frightened about losing another family member, Mom packed him up with a rice ball and sent him on his way. "Go if you want," she says, "but promise to come back before 5 this evening, and make sure to eat something if you get hungry." So you traipse off into the forest to see what you can find, sumo-throwing animals over your head to defeat them. Kintarou quickly gets thoroughly sidetracked, however. You'll meet lots of forest creatures in the woods and sumo wrestle them. There's a mouse tied to a tree who begs you to help him. You can't though. Kintarou callously tells the poor mite he's on his own. He'll be admonished later that evening for it by his mother, who tells him he must do better. You'll meet a beaver who, if you can beat him in wrestling, will come with you for a spell. You can give him a honeycomb and he'll let you ride on him for a while as well. This is a little useless and after one hit you'll fall off anyway. During the stages, you'll be able to collect sticks, which you can use as projectiles. This is very useful in the first stage as the positioning required to execute the throws without getting hit is quite precise. It's doable, but it's nice to have an alternative attack. Before the second level, your mum gives you a copper axe, which is nice of her. You'll soon drop it in a lake, though, only for it to be found by an angel. She asks you to identify the axe, tell her that it was a golden axe. This guy's pretty dishonest, to get a free upgrade. The bear, seeing all this, just frowns at you and asks, "You're happy with yourself, are you?" Just when you think you've got away with one, your mother will again scold you for lying and take your axe away as punishment. This has all been rather a weird experience so far, hasn't it? But ultimately it's such a charming little game with excellent dialogue and some life lessons along the way. One that's thoroughly worth investigating the fan translation if you're able to. Each level progresses in a similar fashion, from left to right with no real backtracking, and plenty of enemies and pitfalls to navigate. It feels and looks like a more interesting Adventure Island, which might feel like high praise to some of you, but in all honesty, I'd much rather play this. Aside from these sumo minigames, which you win seemingly by just pressing A and B a bunch, there will also be boss fights at the end of each stage. These are pretty inventive. The fireball spewing crocodile on stage 2 is massive, and the trick is not to go at him with your purloined axe, but to stand back and hurl sticks at his open eyes until he dies. Control-wise, it's totally fair. The hitboxes are large, but at least they work, and it won't take you too long to get your head around the positioning and such. The game's imagery is replete with cartoonish glee, and the soundtrack is competently composed in a way that complements your adventure without getting irritating. This was the game that started the Masakari Densetsu series, of which there were sadly only 2 games. There was also an RPG released, again only on Game Boy, towards the end of 1994. Here's to hoping it's as fun and charming as Action-Hen.